I created the character models and now I am tempted to remake the game again. What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm making new villager models for my game DunVill. But before we start, I have a question. Is learning 3D modeling still worth it? You know, AI can generate models in a few seconds now and you just have to upload character design and wait a bit and boom! You got a fully textured 3D model. Honestly, for me, it's still worth it mainly because I enjoy it and also because I can't afford the AI subscriptions. But what do you guys think? Is learning 3D modeling still worth it in 2026? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, let's make a villager, shall we? My goal here is to create just a simple character fitted for my game. So instead of sculpting or doing anything fancy, I started with a cube, cut it in half, added mirror modifier and subdivision modifier. Then I just started pushing vertices until it looks like a chibi human. I'm so good at this, right? Right? For the proportion, I base it on my duck character. Once the base shape looks decent, I applied the subdivision and started adding details. For reference, I just googled pictures of farmers. Nothing fancy, just a guy in a farming clothes. Now, the trick here is the extrusion order, because if you extrude the wrong parts first, you get geometry overlap, which is very annoying to fix. So I extruded the clothes first, then the pants, then finally the boots. Doing it in that order saves a lot of cleanup later. Next, the hair. I duplicated the hair area first so I could easily select it later. Then extrude it a bit. I didn't spend too much time on the hairstyle because this character will be wearing a hat anyway. For the face, my original plan was simple, eyes, eyebrows, mouth, but then I had a better idea. What if the character had a mustache? So now he has a mustache and honestly I think it's improved the character by at least 300%. Then I extruded the nose, nothing fancy because the camera is just usually far away anyways. At first, the eyes were just flat planes, but they look weird, like the character is wearing sunglasses. I can't wear sunglasses because everything will be blurred. If I can't, why would I let them wear one? So I replaced them with spears and instantly the character looks much better. And just like that, the farmer villager is finished. The whole thing took about 1 hour, which honestly isn't bad. And the best part is this model can now be reused to make other villagers. So instead of making everything from scratch again, I duplicated the model and modified it. That's how I created the lumberjack and the cook. While making the lumberjack, I noticed something interesting. Almost every lumberjack reference image had the same red-black checkered shirt. So I naturally googled why. Apparently it's just for visibility in the forest. It's just interesting, I think. Now that I have the villager models, it's time for rigging and animation. I know Blender has Rigify which makes rigging easier, but I prefer making my own rigs, mainly because Rigify confused me and the last time I used it, it gives me an error, which is terrifying. So instead, I made a simple rig and added inverse kinematic for the arms and legs. Then recreated the animation I already had. Walking, gathering, idle, the usual stuff. Then I imported everything into Unity and something looked very wrong. The arms were jittering everywhere, the character looked deformed, so I started debugging. And eventually found the problem. The left and the right bone names were swapped. I didn't know this was an issue with the Unity humanoid rigs. Luckily, Blender has a shortcut to swap left and right bones names. So the fix only took a few seconds and after that, the animation worked perfectly. Now the villager have their own skins. I also needed a player model. I wanted the player to look more like an adventurer, so I duplicated the base model again and started modifying it. New clothes, different hair, some small adjustments, and the player model was done. Now, here's something I'm still not sure about. Should equipment change the player appearance or should the model stay the same? Some games don't visually change the character. Others do. I'm still deciding. Let me know what you think. Since the player model was in the same Blender file as the villagers, I just parented it into the armature and all the animation worked automatically, but when I tested it in Unity, The character had a very strange butt movement while walking, which is not ideal, so I went back to Blender and fixed the weighing painting. After importing everything, it looks so much better. And now the villagers are finally inside the game. They all look different, which makes the world feel a lot more alive. I also tested switching the camera to perspective view and it looks really good. Now I'm tempted to change the camera style, but it's like remaking the whole game again. And I'm not sure if I can keep it optimized. The game is designed for mobile, so I should restrain myself from changing it again. From here, development will mostly be about adding more content, more villagers, more enemies, more weapons, more armors, more items, and a lot of balancing. Also the sound effects. Game development never ends, but that's part of the fun. Thanks for watching and I'll be seeing you next devlog. Goodbye!